I want to talk about the difference between management and leadership. Management, because we confuse the two, they're different. Management I liken to a clipboard and a task list. Here's 27 things I'm going to try to get done this week. If I line them all off by the end of the week, I'm 27 for 27. Looks like a great week. And do I handle all the other interruptions and distractions that happen with that? Management is a clipboard and a task list. Management is directive. You tell people to do things. Leadership is connective. How do you connect with folks so that they are challenged and motivated and driven to do and accomplish those things for you? How do you do that? How do you connect with them? How do you make them decide this is what? How do you be the type of boss when they're walking through Starbucks or Costco or Walmart or somewhere with a significant other? They stop and say, honey, come here, I want you to meet my boss. By the way, if that's not happening, and you just get the wave when they go by, like, hi, they keep going. The conversation afterwards is going something like this. Oh, honey, who was that? That's the boss. Notice that's not my boss. That's not the boss. That's the boss. That's the guy I work with. That's the gal I work with. There's a difference. Management is directive, what they get done. Connective is leadership, how they get it done. And I want to talk to you about how you can do that. I think there are 4 expectations your folks have of you. And I think meeting those 4 expectations goes a long way toward forming that connective tissue. First, the first thing they expect is that you will establish structure for them to operate in. You'll establish the boundaries and the ground rules. And I'm not talking about structure in terms of the wiring diagram and the faces and spaces in the box. Who's got a dotted line? Who's got a straight line? Who's got a solid line? Sir, this is Private First Class Shibely. I'm supposed to call the operation shop whenever Colonel Boles shows up? Really? Stand by. Our sergeants have this wonderful spidey sense. And Master Sergeant Cheney was sitting at his desk. He started doing one of these. He finally spun all the way around. Sir, you're here. I said, yeah, Shibely wants you to know I'm here. That's pretty funny. Well, let's talk about where it's not funny. Because the more I thought about it, the madder I got. And the more unfunny it got. And here's the leadership lesson for you. My reaction was, when I thought about it, was, how dare they? I was brand new in that organization. The United States Army had trusted me to train, deploy, and take care of those soldiers and their families and bring them back safely. And somebody in the organization decided I needed to be, or the organization rather, needed to be protected from me whenever I went out. How dare they? Now, some of you are very politely in the dim light here, inwardly rolling your eyes going, oh, lighten up, Boles. That's the way of the world. That's the way it is. That's the way business works. You want to be warned when the boss is coming. And you can have that opinion if you can answer one question. If you can answer one question. So the challenge with risk is, how do you set the stage, how do you set the conditions so that folks come to you and say, I know it looks like you got it all figured out, but I got a question, a reservation about this. Can you give me a second? Because you have to set those conditions, because they won't. They'll think you know what's going on. They'll think you got it covered, because you're the boss. You're the leader. And what you have to do is, on occasion, what I had to do was be humble enough to say, there might be something I'm missing here. Would somebody tell me what it is so you don't wait till afterwards and you tell me you knew this was going to happen? And sure enough, first couple of times I did that, what was the response? Oh, no, sir, you got it. Hey, go get him, sir. The second or third time they went, well, since you asked. But the fourth or fifth time, they'd start coming and going, sir, can I talk to you for a minute? So you got to be persistent, you got to set it over time, but you got to help them identify, balance, and mitigate risk. I find it especially challenging for older folks because older leaders are challenged, they think they are challenged, connecting with the younger digital generation. Let me break this to you gently. They don't mind connecting with you, they just don't want your fingers on the keyboard. They just don't want your fingers on the keyboard. They're happy to connect with you, they're happy to talk with you. You just got to understand they're different. Now, I hear people say all the time, these millennials, God, they're difficult. God, they're challenging. Oh, shut up. June 1976, Vincent E. Boles, commissioned in the Army about 3 weeks. I knew how to stand in front of that sign that says reserved for any second lieutenant and put a uniform on, and that was about it. I couldn't have poured water out of a boot if you printed tip on the heel. That's pretty clueless. Who works for you? What clients align themselves with you? What makes them get up in the morning, roll away from their significant other, get washed up, cleaned up, fight traffic, and go sit and bask in the glow of your charisma every day? Who works for you? Do you know why they work for you? You know, Vincent, someday this will all be yours. And God help me, I said under my breath, Jesus, Mary, and sweet St. Joseph, I got to get plan B. I don't know what it is, but it ain't going to be this. I'm not doing this. Now, my father was not a communist. He was not a terrorist. He was a wonderful man, took good care of us. But that just wasn't, as they like to say down south where I live now, that was not butter in my biscuit. Wasn't working. So I went away to Niagara University. ROTC guys looked at me, said, looks like you can pass a PT test. Hey, come here. Talk to me. I took a couple of classes. It seemed to connect. I kind of liked it. And they said, we'll pay you for 2 years of college. You owe us 4 years. I said, works for me. I said, 4 years, I'm not mopping floors in Boles' bar. I got this. So I joined the Army, said, I'm only going to do 4 years, and something happened. Well, Vinny, we appreciate that, but what's the point of all that? Here's the point. Do you know your folks' stories? Are you their plan B? Are you their plan A? Do you know? Because the question you want to ask, looking at that picture that you just saw, and looking at me now is not, oh, isn't that cute? It's, how did he get from there to here? How did he get from the front of the Officers Club in a parking lot at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland, to standing in front of the American College multiple times talking to us? How'd that happen? The answer is people happened. People reached out and touched me, grabbed me, and made sure my best got better. They committed themselves to working that. Who are you touching? Who looks like that back where you're working? They don't have a 5-year plan. They're trying to get to Friday. And a word from you, an insight from you, some guidance from you, some leadership from you could make all the difference from a career just plodding along to a career taking off and doing pretty well. And I'm a living example of that. Fair enough? Yeah. So let's talk about that. First, I want to talk to you about I'm going to talk about what your job isn't. I'm going to talk how you connect with your clients and your workforce. I'm going to open the floor for a Q&A. Let's get the roles sorted out. You got questions, I got answers, all right? They tell me I can't get paid unless I answer 4 questions. I'm the only thing between you and a break. It's mean you're not leaving till I answer 4 questions. And then to wrap it up, just so you don't go running out when the Q&A is done, I got a couple of thoughts to leave you with. So that's what we're going to go on. First of all, if I can talk to you about what your job isn't, let me open the floor to questions. Questions, please. About this, my presentation, the world that's going on, kind of how things are working. what I think about the election. I can say that now I'm retired. I can have an opinion. Sir, please, brave man, first up.
How did you take care of the problem in the shop? How did you take care of the problem in the shop?
You mean with a call before the boss goes out? Interesting. Thank you so much. I couldn't have set that up better. Did you get the question? How did I handle that? I'm going to spin off that, but first the way I handled it was I stopped telling people where I was going. I didn't tell them. I just got up going, where are you going? I'm going. After the first couple of weeks, you know what they're all doing. Call if you see him. If he's out there, call. But I found after about a couple of weeks, I tend not to be an overly reactive guy when I see something. I tend to come to the operation with, most people want to do the right thing. So that's what I do. 18 live shows a year, starts at 11:30 on Saturday night, ends at 1 o'clock Sunday morning, cast party ensues, they come to sometime Monday, show up and say, okay, who's the musical talent this week and who's the guest host and what are we putting together for a show? And they throw the show together during the week. They estimate they got to do about 65 drafts to get the 8 skits they need. And they throw it all together and they're rehearsing and doing blocking and doing cards and getting in, and finally Saturday, boom, they go on. A reporter observing this one day watched all this unfold and went to Andy Samberg, was talking to him and said, how do you get ready to go on Saturday Night Live? His answer is a leadership lesson for us all. He said, we don't go on because we're ready. We go on because it's 11:30. While you've been flying across the Pacific, while you're flying back across the Pacific to go home, you're going to be thinking about your job. You're going to be thinking about a structure you got to fix, a relationship you got to get better, a risk you got to address, a decision you have to make or unmake. You're going to do that. And you're going to talk yourself out of it. And you're going to talk yourself out of it, and you're not going to do it because you're going to wait for that thing that never comes. You're going to wait for the perfect time. Oh, I'll make that change next quarter. I'll make it next cycle. I'll make it when Judy leaves and Mike comes and takes his place. And we all know what happens. The perfect time never comes. You don't make the change, and a year later you're sitting there going, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. So my advice to you, if you see something's got to get done, roll up your sleeves, shut up and tell yourself it's 11:30 and move out. It won't be perfect, it won't be pretty, but you'll have started. Again, thanks so very much to the American College for what you do and what you don't do. Please keep our soldiers in your prayers. Thank you so much.